Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is your boy Louis Shine, Coach Shine, that is. Hey, I just wanted to get on live. This is my first time doing a live video on my fan page. So just wanted to start it off with a bang and talk about something that's really, really important and has really been dear to me as a coach. It's winning through visualization. I'll tell you about a quick story. It was some years ago where I read a Sports Illustrated article, and it talked about Pat Riley, which Pat Riley is one of my favorite coaches of all time. I can remember living in California and my dad taking me to the Forum, watching Laker games when Pat Riley was coaching, Magic Johnson, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Byron Scott, James Worthy, AC Green, all the great Lakers that I love so dearly. Pat Riley, he really took that franchise to another place. They were already great, but just that Showtime era with Showtime basketball, it was just really amazing. And so, but years ago, I read a Sports Illustrated article where Pat Riley was talking in there about how he actually used visualization to lead the Miami Heat to a championship. So there were years and years excuse me, not years, but there were a few years in between when he first took the helm of the Miami Heat, and between then and when they actually won their first championship, I believe this is what those years he was talking about. When he first got to the Miami Heat, he actually started putting, and you can look on Google and look up Miami Heat locker room, where he talked about how he put in the backdrop of the lockers as well as on the floor in the actual carpet, world champions. And then he had a picture of the NBA championship trophy. So when you walk in their locker room, the NBA championship trophy is on the floor, long before they even won a championship, but this was on the floor. Then if you look in the backdrop of the lockers, no kidding, go Google this. Miami Heat locker room. On the backdrop of the lockers, there was the championship trophy. So I got done reading this article, and he was just talking about how in this article, there's things that go into you that you can't do anything about. And it gets into your subconscious. So if you're listening to music, you can be in a room and unless you cover your ears and you're listening, the music is playing, you're hearing it, and you may not be paying attention to it, but it's going in to a certain extent. So what you see with your eyes, it's going in you to a certain extent. You may not be paying attention to it like, you know what I'm saying? But it's going inside of you. It's getting into your heart and soul, whether you know it or not. It's almost like a car. You can buy a brand new car, and when you buy this car, you probably never ever see it in your town, and you feel like, you know what, I got me a good car, and I got a steal. Matter of fact, I went out of town and got this. Ain't nobody around here got it. And as soon as you get that car, you see 3 or 4 of them around town, and you didn't even know, like, well, I didn't know they had this car. And it's the same thing. Like when you start seeing things and they get in your psyche, in your eyes line of view, it starts to go inside of you. So now you begin to recognize it more. Your thinking starts to change. Your visualization of your outlook, it starts to change. And so what he was talking about here was he wanted to get championship inside of the players, even on a subconscious level. And so he put these trophies around the locker room, pictures of the trophies on the floor. And I was like, that's amazing. So after I read that, when I had the opportunity to become, a coach in college basketball, the first year I was assistant, but the second year I ended up being the acting head coach, and ended up playing 23 games as the acting head coach and went 18-5. But at the beginning of the year, because of the year we had the previous year, we won the conference championship. I got a ring. I wish I had it on camera right now to show you, but it's in the other room. But got a conference championship ring. Went 20-8 that year. Won the West Division of the SEAC conference, Division II. And so winning that was so amazing. And much of the team was, returning. We only lost a few players, so we had a lot of returners, and then we had a good group of freshmen coming in. So immediately for myself, I was like, man, we could do something special. And one of the things I believe as a coach is you have to set the standard from day one with players. You can't allow, and this is how it was with me coming up. So this is what I learned. Players don't dictate the standard that's set for a team. The coaches do. So that what you have to do, the first thing out the gate when players arrive on campus, or even in the pros, when players come to training camp, is you're setting the standard. Hey, this is a championship team. This is what we do around here. We win championships. Like, there's nothing else we do this for. We're not going to go through a whole season of practices, getting up early, out of town on bus rides, on planes, grit and grind, doing all this just so that we can be like, you know what, we good at settling for the middle of the pack. We're not going to do that. That's not what we do. Why waste that effort to just want to fall short? One of the things that I hear coaches say, especially like in conferences where there's a team that's real dominant, like year after year after year after year. I hear coaches, might hear coaches say, well, everybody else only playing for second. Well, to me, that kind of statement bothers me, because here I am, if I'm in a conference and there's like a high power team there and they win year after year or whatever, I'm coming for them. Like, we're not going to be in here just letting them win and we playing for second. That's not what we do. We're going to figure it out. When they play us, they going to knew we existed on the planet. That's just how it is. Like, we coming for you. That's just how we do it. That's my mentality. And so when I had an opportunity to be the acting head coach there, one of the very first things that I did is made sure that we were going to visually make sure that the players were getting a message inside of them that was going to radiate through them throughout the season. Now, it may not have gotten in them right away to where it was like, oh man, let's do it. But over the course of time, continuing to see the same thing, hearing the same message over and over again, something's going to start to change, okay? So one of the first things I did was when we had the preseason packets and just the material that we give at our opening meeting, I found the national championship trophy, NCAA Division II national championship trophy, and I put it on every single thing I gave them that year. There wasn't a practice schedule. There wasn't a handout. There wasn't a itinerary for our road travel that did not have the national championship trophy on it. Why? Because if we're going to be a part of this thing, we're going for the top. And if we're not going for it all, I don't care if we lost every game the year before. If we're not going for it all, let's just go sit down somewhere, because why even exert energy if you're not trying to go for the highest goal? And some people might say, oh, you got to be realistic. What is realistic? Especially when you watch games like movies like Glory Road. Glory Road, I believe that was the name. But Glory Road was a story about a coach who came from women's high school basketball, and he came into men's college basketball. I believe it was like West Texas. I can't remember the exact name, so please forgive me, of the team that he took over. But he became the head coach of the men's team at West Texas. And make a long story short, he went on that first year, did a recruiting effort, got players in there, went on the very first year, and won the national championship, beat Coach Rupp in Kentucky. And it's like, okay, so I think the argument of you got to be realistic, we can take it and throw it out the window. We can run it over with a car, because ain't nobody got time for that. Because if it could be done before, where a first year head coach can come in and he has to go and get players on his team without a real recruiting budget and make it happen and win the national championship, like this is a true life story, then I'm not going to sit and listen to somebody talk about you got to be realistic. I don't like none of that. That to me, no, not at all. So I felt that where we were with the team, that we had a good enough team to go for a national championship. If we didn't have a good enough team, I was trying to go for it anyway. All right. So set out everything that we had, booklets, everything. Had a national championship trophy. You go in my office, it was a national championship trophy on my screensaver. At practice, I would print out a national championship trophy, and I would pass that thing around and ask everybody in the circle after practice, before practice, to take a look at this. What do you feel about this? Do you think this is possible? Because as coaches, we have to expand the mind of our players. Like, we have to push them. One of my things is I love pushing players to their max, to push the elite out of them, because that's what we're there for. All right. So one thing I did, I'll pass that thing around, expand their minds. And, beginning of the season, from my perspective, and some of them might be checking this out, whatever, from my perspective, some of the players thought I was crazy. National championship, whatever. We was just coming off a conference championship, and we lost a game at the buzzer by 1 point that would have took us into the national tournament in the conference championship game the year before. So I'm like, oh, man, we right there. We get in the national tournament. We can do some damage. So we go into this next year. This is 2017-2018 season. And, man, we start off really good, man. We played a few ranked teams in the region, lost by a few points, but then we went on a roll. We had a long win streak at one point. I think we went up to like 8 or 9 wins straight. We were pretty much first in the conference all season long, and we had trouble with one team. But after all year preaching this, let's blow teams out. The game plan and strategy was we were full court pressing. We trying to make teams feel like they don't ever want to play us again. Like, when they step foot in the gym against us again, they like, man, we don't even want to be here. Like, they press us all game. They running on us all game. We trying to run them out the gym. That's what we do around here. We don't have time to take bus rides and show up and then just play around with teams. No, we're going to send a statement today. And so that was how we taught the game. That second year that I coached at D1, I was the acting head coach. We were trying to run people out the gym and out the state. Don't come here. This is what we send a statement. And that's the mindset that we were instilling in the players, so that when we go on the court, it's not a game. Like, we're not going to play patty cake. We're not going to make friends. We're going to take over. We're going to run people out the gym because we got another ring to get. This is what we do. That's the message. And so when you set that vision from the beginning, then there's no gray areas. There's nothing. I'm in this thing to put them banners up there and to put some jewelry on the fingers of these kids. That's what we gonna do. And so I always will tell them. So when you come back, and you and your kids and your family come back, you could say, hey, mommy was a part of that team. Daddy was a part of that team up there. We did some great things. And your name and what you did are enshrined on that wall or in those rafters forever. Like, that's the memory we want. Son, daughter, daddy was a champion. You gonna be a champion. That's what we do. We don't do it for nothing else. We're not out here wasting our time. We're going to do it. We're going to do it to win. And if we ain't winning, or if it's a challenge, we're going to figure out how to win. That's what we do. So preaching that all year, I believe, and this is just me from my perspective, I believe that over time, things begin to seep in, because in games, I can hear how players talk. I can hear how, they react, see how they react. And it was a mentality. I can remember playing one of our rivals, and there was a certain kid on the other team that they had a certain average, over 20 points a game. Well, I knew that I had dogs on my team. And so I was like, you know what? I need you to go and shut her down. I do not want you to help off of her. I don't want to hear my bad. I helped off of her and she hit a 3. I don't want to hear none of that. I don't want her to touch the ball. Every time she turned her head, I want her to feel the breath of your mouth on her face. I want her to feel you breathing when she turned her head and look your way. You stay with her. Don't help off of her. I think that girl finished the game with 2 points. But all that to say is, we're going to do all that we can And so if we do lose, we can go in the locker room and feel good about it. You know what? We left it out there. Drag me to the house. I can't even walk. That's just the mindset that we wanted to instill. So as the season went on, you could see the maturity levels grow. You could see people starting to buy into it. And now here comes the fruit of you casting your vision now. You can cast and say, we going to the national championship. We winning the conference. We blowing teams out. We're going to go undefeated at home. That's what we're going for. So now the grind that we're going through is making sense because they know we're pointing here. So you have to go here to hit that. You can't stay here and hit that. We're going here. So this is where we want. Ladies, gentlemen, we going here. This is how we're climbing. And so every sprint we run, every fast break, every transition drill, this is in preparation to run through somebody's chin strap. That's what we doing this weekend when we play. Or we travel to this game, that becomes our gym. That's our gym now. That's not their gym. When we walk in here, it's our gym now. It belongs to us now. That's the mindset, and that's what we preached. And so now, when things start to happen throughout the year and we have national statistics now, we were top 5 in the nation in steals, top 5 in the nation in turnovers forced. We eclipsed like top 10 in the nation in several categories. And it was amazing. 3-point shooting, different things like that, because we did it on purpose. And when you start to see it, for us, it wasn't a coincidence. Like, it was exciting because we celebrated it when it happened, but it was not a coincidence because we knew this is what we worked for. We knew that we worked on defense so that we're going to make it almost impossible for you to get up the court with the ball. And when you take the ball out, you're going to be scared to bring it up because we're going to put so much pressure on you. That's what we preached and that's what we worked on, so that when we got into games, it was no coincidence that we forced 25 turnovers. That's what we do. This is what we do. And it's not dictated by what the other team doing. We don't care what they doing. As long as we do what we doing, it's going to take care of itself. So national statistics, top 10 in several categories, ranked in the South region for the first time in school history. And it kept climbing. We got up to like number 8 in the region. Right there, I believe we should have got a at-large bid to the tournament. We were right there on the bubble, but we did very well. Ended up being tied for first place in the conference with a 15-3 record in the conference. But that team got the best of us that last game we played them. And so they won the tiebreaker. And so we did not get a ring. And then we went on to the conference championship game and lost again pretty much at the buzzer. So we were knocking on the door. But I just believe in my heart that by the visualization, you putting championship trophies up, put the goals up on the board, put that we forcing 25 turnovers. When we go on my scouting reports, I always put what we were doing. On the scouting report, we're going to hold them to this many rebounds. We're going to get this many rebounds. That's what we're going for. We're holding them to this. We don't want them to do this. Like, that's my favorite way of teaching, because it's direct and this is what we're doing. And now let's go do it. And so a lot of the things that happened during that particular year, I believe that in the end, because they were starting to happen, people started to believe, like, you know what, man, maybe this national championship thing is possible. You know, and if you turn the minds of the players that much, that means it's going to roll over into next year and you just keep building. Because I believe that if I would have stayed at that institution, I believe that next year we would have been well off into the national tournament. I just believe that. And so, like I said, I just wanted to get on here tonight. So if you're a coach, if you're a pastor, if you're a CEO, any kind of leader, you want to do visualization. You want to do anything that can get into their eye gates, in their ears and their hearts, but mainly what they're looking at and what they're doing. You want everything to point to winning the championship. So if you got a locker room code and your championship game is on, you know, the conference championship. I used to get the conference championship game date when the season started. I want to know the date because we going to it. And I'm putting it on the calendar. When we hand the calendars out to the kids, It's on there, the championship game. I'm not going to shy away and not put it on there. And, no, we putting it on there because we going to it. All right, that's just what we doing. We putting the Final Four on there because we going all the way. Now, when the season over, we didn't make it, man, we gave a great effort. We'll talk about that then. But the goal right now, we going all the way. You got to paint that picture. You got to put that vision. Even the Bible say, write the vision, make it plain. Something you got to reach for. You got to know where you're going. If you don't know where you're going, then without vision, we perish. You don't know where you're going. So the players don't have anything to hold on to say, hey, where are we going? What is our goals? Well, we just playing. Nah, we're going to the championship this year. So gear up, get your rest, get your water in you. Everything we talking about need you to do, because in the end, we're going to put something on your finger. All right. We're going to put a ring on your finger. All right. So visualization, make your locker room code the championship game. If it's on March the 12th, make your locker room code 31220 for 2020. So that every time they put that code in, championship game. Whatever the case, whatever. The time you got to be at practice, make it on a crazy number. That's 8:12 in the morning. We start in practice. Whatever you got to do. It's just got to click in their minds so that every time they see something, they see that trophy. Every time a practice break, we gonna break the huddle with championship game, or we gonna break the huddle with champions, SEAC champions, Big 10 champions, Big 12 champions. That's what we do. Big 12 champions. Like we breaking it with, so we can get it here. So now when those hard times come in the game and you feel like, man, I can't, man, it's getting hard out here. You thinking about that. It's in there now because you spent all season putting it in front of them, getting it in their minds, getting it in their ears. You got it hanging up in the locker room. It's the locker room code. The Final Four date is all on they mirrors. When they go to the bathroom behind the stalls, it's a picture right there of the championship. So where this is our goal, and we want it to be ingrained in them. So when those hard times come, oh no, no. They think they about to beat us, but no. We done came too far. This is our house. Let's kick it into another gear. It will help. So, man, that's just a little encouragement, man. Even as a player, visualizing yourself doing certain things. I used to close my eyes, put my music on, visualize myself doing certain things on the court before you actually do them. So, but from a leader perspective, make sure you cast a vision before your employees, before your coaching staff, before those that you are leading, so that they can know where you're going. And visualization, it's easy to paint a picture if you have something visually that they can see all the time. When they come in the door, it's on the door all the time. When they go into their locker, it's on their locker. When they go into the time clock, to clock in, clock out, it's something right there. Whether it's words, whether it's a picture, that's how we work by imagination. You can get that thing in there. Then they keep seeing that trophy, and then the trophy show up on the CBS network when it come across the screen, and like, oh, okay, and it's doing something to them. All right, so man, I hope that encouraged. I've used it in my life. It's really worked for me. I've used it as a head coach, and it's worked for my team. We broke records that year, did all kind of fabulous things. It's amazing stuff. So whatever you are, leader, CEO, pastor, coach, try visualization out starting today or for your season to come, or whatever time frame of something that's coming up. You're about to start with a new group of a new batch of people. Start it out with some visual, especially if your goal is something that has a visual component to, like a trophy or something like that. Make sure you use that. And then if you have something that's true to life, if you got a trophy from past years, pass that trophy around the center circle. Bring it into the team meeting sometime and let it pass it around. Pass your old rings around. Bring in past champions and let them talk about how it was when they won. Anything that can tie into visually, or even anything using the 5 senses that can tie into your goal. Make that thing work. I'm telling you, it'll come full circle. All right. Hope this was encouraging to you. It's something that you can use. If you enjoyed this, please click the share button or tag someone that you feel needs to hear this. Also, doing a lot on my social media. If you can please visit me, you can look up Louis Shine on YouTube. Please subscribe to my page. I'm going to be putting amazing things on there. A lot of content that I feel like will be encouraging, motivating, and helpful for where you're going. All right. So look forward to talking to you guys. We'll talk with you soon. Peace.